What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino, and I know y'all be wondering, like, man, where is he at? Like, I just like to come out and get a little nature, get a little air from time to time, and do videos outside. That's why y'all might see me out here. You might see me in the car. You might see me at the park, just to get a little outside and absorb some of the elements, some of the blessings that God has provided us with in the form of the sun and in the form of the trees and the grass and all of the natural things that actually contribute to our well-being, whether we know it or not. But speaking on that and staying on that topic, I made a video the other day when I was talking about vaccines, and I quoted the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, said, "Don't take that vaccine." And we know it's coming. We don't know how far down the line before it actually arrives, but now you're starting to see the um, the prelude. You're starting to see the setup. They're coming down court right now, and they're getting ready to. They see who's on the wing. They're getting ready to try to throw that alley oop and get that dunk. And that dunk is forcing everybody to take those vaccines. There's a man named Alan Dershowitz. He's an attorney, and I think he's been practicing law probably before I was born. I don't know, but he's a pretty he's a pretty wicked guy, and y'all can do the research on Alan Dershowitz, man. And I posted a video on my Facebook that I had shared, and it was talking about, there was a guy interviewing Alan Dershowitz, and they were talking about vaccines. And ironically, this was right after I had posted the video, and this man fixed his mouth to say that if you were to refuse the coming vaccine, that they could literally apprehend you, take you to a facility, and force the needle into your arm. Now, that's the thing that people have been discussing for the longest, especially as it relates to COVID-19, is that we believe that in the end, they're going to try to force this vaccine on everybody. So to hear this man say that you as a human being, you as an individual entity in and of yourself, do not possess the God-given right to refuse to allow something to be injected into your own body, speaks to the satanic nature of individuals like Mr. Dershowitz. He went on to say that as it relates to a pandemic situation, something that everybody is tied together on a string, basically, you have no right to refuse the vaccination. Only if it is something that is more isolated or more restricted to individuals that cannot be passed on to other people. Let me tell y'all something, man. Alan Dershowitz, the so-called medical professionals, the scientists of this world who use science for the wrong purposes, none of these individuals created you. None of these individuals formed you. None of these individuals have the right to tell you what can forcibly be done to your body. None of them. And as is the case with Bill and Melinda Gates, you have individuals who have developed, for whatever reason, whether it be money and status and power, whether it be connections, they have developed these God complexes where they think that they have the absolute right and the absolute authority to determine what happens to you in your life. You got to take control of that and make that decision. There's going to be a lot of, I won't say, we've heard of peer pressure. There's going to be a lot of peer pressure applied in the upcoming months, and as this vaccination debate continues to move forward. And again, decisions are going to have to be made for you. Decisions are going to have to be made by you and for your family and for yourself. But on the same token, you have a lot of people who are advocates of vaccinations, and they believe in them. They believe that this is the right thing to do. I don't think that a lot of those individuals actually research the ingredients of the vaccines, because I don't know how a self-respecting, intelligent person could know what these vaccines consist of and know the toxic nature of the ingredients that are placed in these vaccines. I can't see an intelligent, self-respecting human being knowing this and still making the decision to say, okay, yeah, hit me right there. So either there is a high degree of ignorance going on, or there's an agenda, or it's a combination of both, among other things that could be applied to that. So Trump is ready to open the schools back up, and he's threatening he's threatening to cut off funding to states that don't um, go along with his decision to open the schools back up, even in the midst of a pandemic that's spiking all over this country and getting worse and worse. But you want to bring the children back into that environment. So the continuance of nonsensical actions um, persist, and they continue to take place. I would advise anybody with children, because I'm sure by now, in these few months, there have been adjustments that have been made by parents to figure out how to educate your children at home. A lot of people have got into homeschooling. I've heard people say they're not ever sending their children back. So I would advise you to, whatever you're doing, to keep doing it, and don't be tricked into um, pushing your children to go back to these schools and placed in these environments. And I don't even care what kind of social distancing um, formats that they will comprise and try to sell. Don't do it. Don't do it. So shout out to Alan Dershowitz, the devil himself, and y'all be smart. Take care and preserve the best you can what God gave you, and use the brain in the sense that he gave you to understand what's best for you and what's not. And if you don't know, do some research, extensive research, not just watch a YouTube video. Some people's idea of research is YouTube videos. And of course, that's part of it. I look at videos sometime and I get information. Of course, we all do. But it can't stop there, man. You got to read. You got to, if you're lucky and blessed enough, know people who actually are in the fields that you're researching, that can actually give you hands-on and expert advice. I know doctors, I know scientists, I know lawyers, I know people who are versed in scripture, because all this stuff ties together, man. So be as wise as you can and be as diligent as you can, and don't let these people's quest for money and the quest to trim down the population trick you into getting caught up in being in that number. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. I'll catch y'all in a bit.